Chit Productions is a production company where Brianna Fuel and myself make movies, short films, and more that talk about issues that need light in hopes that someone will watch it, think more deeply into the issue, and learn to care about it.
With everything that's going on regarding viruses, political disputes, and our current racial climate, we really lose sight of what's truly important, and that is celebrating each other's differences as opposed to letting it divide us up. So, Chit Chat Productions has reached out to several students and asked them to share their stories with you so that hopefully you'll be reminded that it's the differences that what makes you you. So, without further ado, we introduce to you Stories of Many Colors.
If I were to ask you the first thing that came to your mind when you see me, what would your answer be? Maybe it'd be my skin color, maybe it'd be my long hair, or maybe it'd be my gender. All of these things, plus so many more, contribute to who I am today. Sitting in front of you, I'm Shrija Vem, a 16-year-old South Indian female who grew up in America.
Hi, my name is Trisha, and I am a daughter of immigrants. My family is from both India and Singapore, and I have a lot of different cultural influences on my life.
Hi, I'm Allison Goodwin. I'm 15 years old.
Hi guys, my name is Corey Shipman, and I attend Hoover High School.
Hey, I'm Tony. I'm 17, and I am a Seventh-day Adventist, or like some people call it an Orthodox Jew.
Hi, my name is Evan Fuel. I'm 15 years old.
Hi, I am Sanaya, and I am 17.
Hi, my name is Maya, and this is my diversity highlight.
Hey there, my name is Lauren. I'm 16 years old. I go to Hoover High, and I'm here to, tell you why I'm different.
Hi, my name is Kat Riesling Toblet. My age is 16. My pronouns are they, them, she, her, and I want to say thank you to the Chit Chat Productions for letting me speak. And I want to answer some diversity questions that they have for me.
Hey guys, I'm Taylor Mays, and I'm an incoming freshman at Birmingham Southern College this year. And I so admire this company, the message, and so I'm so excited to get to talk to you guys about my story and just everything about me. So let's get started.
What makes me different from other people is my religion. Before I started wearing the hijab, you probably wouldn't know that I was Muslim until I told you. But by wearing the hijab, the first thing that you see about me is that I'm Muslim. Up until the 5th grade, I went to an Islamic school. I grew up in a community where there weren't many differences. We were all people of color and Muslim, so it was a very comfortable and unproblematic environment to be around.
I have pretty normal hobbies, like I paint, I like to skate, I'm in theater, I like to act, I like to spend time with friends and hang out, I dye my hair pink. But as far as I can remember, there hasn't really been anything really problematically different with me, I guess, other than being bi. And I know being openly bi or gay has been very much glad to normalized more so with our generation being more open to the LGBT plus community. It's only really been a problem 2 times for me, really thankfully. I've been able to have theater where everything's very laid back and accepting, and I've really felt safe there all the time.
Number one is what makes me different. What makes me different is my speech impediment.
And something different about me is that I have Tourette syndrome. For those who don't know, Tourette syndrome is a disability where your brain makes your body make different movements or different sounds without you knowing it.
There are many differences that come with my religion. I go to church on Saturdays, and Friday nights we also consider that a time to usher in the Sabbath. And one of the big things for me is kind of the diet and the way we eat, just for health reasons. And I think that it's a really good thing to clear your body and detox and stuff. And I love that I don't eat pork, shellfish, beef. I love that about myself.
friend of mine asked me to answer some questions, and I'm going to try to answer them to the best of my ability. So the first question was, what makes me different? What makes me different? You know, a lot of things makes me different. Yeah, I'm really trying to find an answer to this question. Like when I was pondering and thinking through these questions, this was the one question that I can answer or could answer, but at the same time I wasn't very satisfied with my answer because it was very surface level when talking about race or religion or age or things like that. But I'm like, okay, I'm a black 17 female who is a Christian. That's what makes me different. Like, you know, I check off a good bit of the boxes. So I really didn't know how to answer the question to the best of my ability.
You know, I never really thought about what really made me different, but I'd have to say it's how I act, the way I dress, but my hair, I mean, just my appearance in general. Normally that's outside of the norm. Outside of what everyone else would do.
I think what makes me different, is just the way I carry myself and the way I think. I've always kind of had just a different mindset in a way. My goals, I think, have made me different because my goals are always changing, but my main goal in life has just always been surrounding my faith and honoring that, and it's just spreading love and kindness and positivity everywhere I go. But yeah, I think what's made me different has also been my skin color. I think that's just been a factor.
So the first question is, what makes me different? I believe that I have a servant's heart and I really love giving back to the community. I really love helping others before I would help myself and serving others.
I've always felt different. Well, naturally, everyone's felt different. But for me, I feel like the first time I realized I didn't need to fit in was when I was about, let's say, 13 years old. But let's backtrack from that. The first time I felt I was different and needed to fit in was when I was about 9 years old. I took my proud Indian self to school every day. I wore the bindi on my forehead between my eyebrows. I had my hair pulled back into pigtails. It was oiled. I had Indian food for lunch every day. I wore cultural clothing to yearbook day. I loved doing all of those things. They made me feel amazing. But backtrack to when I was 9 years old, I didn't so much love all these things anymore. All my peers would always question what I was doing or why I was doing it. Why does she have to wear that bindi? Why does she have to do this? And I never felt any reason not to explain it to them. I loved it. I loved being different and explaining this stuff. But it was when the bullying started that I started to let go of pieces of myself until I eventually let go of myself.
I first learned that I was different when I started elementary school, and people would not have the same experiences as me, or they would make fun of my food or try to get me to convert to their religion.
Number 2, when did I discover that I'm different? I've always known that I was different due to my bullying back since I was in preschool. Like every single day I've known that I was different.
I think I discovered I was different when I was a sophomore in high school, I think. Or maybe younger, but I think I really, truly tuned into that difference my sophomore year of high school. So I think I was, you know, everyone around me was doing high school things, you know, gossiping, talking about boys, you know, just everything was happening all at once, and at the time, I felt different, you know. I just felt like I didn't fit in. I've never felt like I fit in. I didn't really want to, honestly. I don't think I could do that if I tried. But I've never been one to follow trends or do anything like that. I've always just done my own thing. And I think that really tunes into me being an entrepreneur and just yeah, doing my own business things. So I think I realized that probably my sophomore year of high school, when everyone around me was peer pressuring and wanting to do these different things that I just was not for, I didn't agree with, or I just didn't have a desire to do or participate in. Yeah, I remember in high school, actually, this is the next question, so I'll save that story for the next question.
When did I discover that I was different? I believe it was when I gave my life to Christ at an early age. I knew that I was set apart and I didn't want to do what other people did, the popular things like going to parties and stuff.
I discovered that I was different at a fairly young age. When I first moved to a public school system at Hoover City in 5th grade, a few people didn't like me once they found out that I was Muslim. I even had a few people try to convert me to Christianity, but I struck strong with my faith and kindly rejected theirs.
And so when going into the question of like, when did I realize I was different, I was able to pinpoint a time in my life that I had saw the most drastic change in like my 17 years of living. The most drastic change, and that was my transition from elementary school to middle school, because I went from a predominantly black neighborhood to being into a predominantly white school system. And the interesting part about this is that it was like in the daytime, I was in this predominantly white environment. And then when I got home, I was surrounded by, or not when I got home, but like everything else in my life was in these black communities. And so it was like the two perspectives and the two sides of like two ends of the spectrum, because it's kind of like this over here is where people want to be, but yet they're over here. Nothing wrong with being over here. It's totally fine with being over here. But this is where the majority of people strive and where they want to be. And I think with that, it's kind of, I guess it's very misleading. Especially being in this environment feels sort of like a pipe dream. Like it's like a reality, but almost feels kind of like untangible because of like who you are. I became very self-conscious, and like my self-esteem literally dropped during that time, because I went from seeing me in the classroom all the time to me being the only one in the classroom. The atmosphere was very much off. And because of like this transitioning period, I think I didn't really know how to act when it came to how to handle certain situations like that. And so I think a lot of that entire middle school experience felt kind of like I was walking on eggshells.
So, I think the influence it had at the time when I realized that I was different, I think that it had a negative influence or impact on me at the time, because I was honestly mad because I was craving to be like everyone else at the time. I guess because in the environment I grew up in, it was just different. It was weird to be different. It had a negative impact on me at the time when I realized it, that I was different, just because I wanted to fall victim to that peer pressure. I wanted to give in at times, but I think that's when my faith came in, and I really found myself.
Its influence, it set me apart. It's protected me from things I knew I shouldn't be doing at my early preteen years. I didn't go to parties, I didn't drink, I still don't drink. I knew I just wanted to be called in Christ and achieve my purpose in life.
I've had the most challenges with this in school. Because it is not as noticeable as being blind or in a wheelchair, teachers find it harder to accommodate me in my different needs.
And number 3, what was its influence in my life? The influence it had on my life was to push hard in everything I do, to work hard and anything that I am able to do, because I'm not really talented in most areas. But I do love to work hard, and I love to really bring my best in everything I do.
It was like I didn't want to upset the wrong person, because it kind of comes across like you're scared, or I wouldn't say like I'm scared, but it's more like, why do I have to live my life like I'm on like a survivalist TV show? Like this isn't about survival. This is about me trying to live my life, and yet I'm trying to live my life according to the pleasing of somebody else.
And I'm actually really glad I was asked to make this video, because it really made me think like what makes me different. Like I've never actually really thought about it. Of course I could go surface level and say like I'm weird, I'm a band nerd, I love the smell of Sharpies, but I don't think that's what they were asking for. So I'm just gonna tell a story that I think people like me can relate to. So when I was younger, like I would get so many remarks telling me like, you don't act black, you talk white, you don't seem like you're black. And most of those comments were coming from within the black community. So when those things were said to me, I kind of felt invalidated as a black person. And I can't just like poof all of a sudden become a race that I'm not.
And I'm going to show a short story that they want me to do. I'm not going to show any pronouns, no name, no age, no other personal information. I have self-respect for this person, even though their comment was really trashy. So they said that I sounded like Charlie Brown's mother, and it really affected me in a couple of days. But I gotta say something, like, do not let others knock you down. Do not let others try to make you feel less than you actually are.
The families of the people who didn't like me for my faith were taught about the typical misconceptions and myths regarding Islam, which include violence, oppression, terrorism, etc. As a result of the terrible actions of a small number of people claiming to be Muslim, the stereotype that all Muslims are bad started manifesting. The truth is that Islam is a religion that preaches peace and teaches all of its followers to love, care for, and respect everyone regardless of their differences. In fact, in the Quran, one of the principal teachings is that hurting one person is like hurting all of humanity.
A short story of when my differences were seen as a problem to others would be probably the parties and not being as involved with people who weren't in the same group as I was, or that they wanted to do drinking or partying or, I don't know, name calling and just gossiping. I knew that it wasn't in my heart to do that. Like, I wanted to be set apart, and I knew I was. I have a calling in my life, so I know that I'm supposed to be different and help others, not tear people down.
I didn't even know it was possible to be gay 3 years ago. That's when I found out it was like possible to be gay, which sounds really weird. But like 3 years ago I moved here from like really little tiny town in Wisconsin. There was like one openly gay person and everyone was just like, we hate them, but just because they're like the only, like, it was so weird. Like, I learned how to be homophobic before I learned what it even meant to be gay, which was really weird, but I was like too little to understand. That was just like what I had around me. And then I moved here and I started like actually, get educated and like learn, oh, so that's what it means. And then, I don't know, when I think it was just like more of a gradual thing. I was just like, oh, okay, I guess I'm bi. I guess I like girls. And 2 times it's never really been a problem was like when it came out to my family. And my family, we grew up in like tiny town Wisconsin. They weren't really used to that. And like their thing wasn't like, ew, I hate you. It was like they didn't quite understand. And I'm really thankful that like nothing crazy on that happened. They just kind of pretended it didn't happen. And over time I've been working on like telling them what it actually means to be gay and how it's, a lot more normal than a lot of people think. And another time was my freshman year, 2 years ago, when I got a girlfriend. They are presented as female then, but I'm just going to use they because that's what they prefer now. But it was in like gym class, PE, how we have to get our PE credit, and like I had that class with them, and people found out that we were dating, and they were all like, ew, you're gay, that's gross, are you gonna hit on me? Like, that's not how it works. I'm monogamous, but okay. And then in like the locker room, they all were like, ew, I don't want to change on you, you're gay. And then they all like moved to like a different area. And I mean, like, I never really understood it then. It doesn't bother me that much. I mean, like, okay, I just got some more privacy, I guess. But it was really just like a thing that happened, I guess. I think like one of the biggest reasons why like people are homophobic and such is because they just don't like know. Like they don't quite, understand that like just because you're gay doesn't mean you like every single girl or every single guy. You still have like tastes, and it's a lot more normal than people think. But thankfully now there's like the internet, and people can like read up about it on the internet and talk to their gay cousin or whatever. There's just a lot more resources out there and a lot more safe places that I'm really thankful for.
A lot of where I grew up, it was this or that. Racially, it was white or black. There wasn't anything in between, and I didn't really have an idea of where I fit in with that. And I think that was mostly our school's fault for not properly educating us on different types of people, as well as the parents of other students for not diversifying the people they interacted with. I mean, imagine not knowing that an Indian person existed, like the idea of an Indian person. And that was a lot of what I grew up with, like having to understand that people genuinely did not know what I was. Like, people often ask me what kind of weave I was wearing, and like that was like all really funny stuff. But at some points, it kind of got tiring having people telling me that my food stank, or that why are you wearing a dot, or just like every time an Indian person was mentioned, all their heads looked exactly like right at me. Like it's just like that's all that it was. And originally, feeling different made me ashamed of my culture. I stopped bringing Indian food and I just brought like a PB&J sandwich. Like, what? Indian food is amazing. And then I never went anywhere publicly with my traditional clothing, and I tried to hide that part of me deep down inside.
Oh, there have been a few times where my differences have caused a problem. One is currently happening, and well, is happening very soon, I feel. Me coming out to my family. I am pansexual, which is a big no-no in my family. You have to be straight, you have to be Christian, or you won't be accepted, and that's a scary thing, because I'm not. I've been putting it off for a long time. It's still a problem. I have come out to many people other than my family, and it's turned out good, so at least I know I have some support. Being black and a part of the LGBT community is hard. Being a part of the LGBT community by itself, being black by itself, being a woman by itself is hard. Being all three is just, ooh. In my lower grades, like before high school, I was bullied for the color of my skin, even though I went to a primarily black school. I was darker in complexion than everyone else, and apparently they didn't like that, which is part of the reason why I tried to follow the crowd, and most of the reason why I wasn't happy.
Really, when I realized that was when my father, he always, not always, but he wears like a do-rag out in public, because he gotta get his legs, going, but like he lives on like that side of town, and I never liked it when he used to wear his do-rag out in public, like when he went to the stores and things like that, because I thought that people would automatically discriminate against him, or just think he's like a thug, or just, just get the wrong vibe. Like, they just automatically just start judging him based on his appearance. So I never liked it. And I once, like, called him out about it, and he was, like, really mad at me. He got, like, really mad at me. He was like, don't tell me. what to wear out in public. And like at that point in time, like I didn't understand. Like I was like, I'm trying to look out for him. Like I'm trying to look out for him. Like why is he getting mad at me? And now I realize that why in the world should he have to like change, I want to say like who he is, but like do things like that in order to make somebody else feel comfortable. Like my life should not be like, I should not have to live my life trying to make somebody else feel comfortable around me. Like that's not the way that I gotta live my life.
I come up with a lot of like challenges because I do go to a public school. One of the biggest things is I'm in show choir, and so sometimes we have like retreats and stuff where we stay after school for a really long time, and so they provide dinner really. And this was like my first year in show choir. I was new to everything, and I was like, okay, I don't have to bring my lunch because you know they're gonna bring us pizza. So during this time we were just about to go on break, and I went to go practice a move that I was having trouble with, and so everyone else is like eating, grabbing pizza and stuff, and it's a lot of pizza there. So I'm just thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm eventually, like, the pizza's not gonna be gone by the time I get there. So the pizza wasn't gone by the time I got there, but the only pizza that was left was pepperoni. So I have to go around explaining to people, I'm like, yeah, I just can't eat because everything's pepperoni. And everyone's just like, just pick off the pepperoni. Just pick off the pepperoni. And like, you don't do that because it's like telling someone that's allergic to peanut butter, just scrape off the peanut butter off your peanut butter and jelly sandwich and eat it. But I love my religion. I love everything about it. I love that we, our main goal is to just spread his word and do good for everyone and try to have the best attitude you can have so you can be closer to him. And I feel like one way to get closer to him is if your body is in the right condition, and that's why we have some of our rules about what we eat and what we can and cannot eat.
I lost all that was me about in the 4th grade. I began to throw away my food at lunch because everyone would complain about how it looked or how it smelled. And I didn't like that. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to have these PB&J sandwiches that everyone had. But I realize now, that was the dumbest thing I could have done. Why would I throw away food that my mom woke up early to make for me? Just because some other kids didn't like it. Were they the ones eating it? I don't think so. So that's when I started throwing away my favorite foods during lunch and basically starving myself the entire school day. That's when I started taking the bindi off my forehead every day when I got to school because I didn't want to tell my mom I didn't want to wear it. That's when I started taking my hair out of braids because I just didn't like the way it looked. That's when I started to lose myself. And now I realize more than ever that those were the days I should have been myself. I should have kept wearing cultural clothing to school. I should have never stopped in the 6th grade. I should have never stopped taking food to school. I should have never stopped wearing the bindi. For me, all of these things were critical points of my culture that I just started to let go.
It really wasn't until high school when I could actually appreciate my individuality and be proud of who I am. Like, I am a black girl. Like, I don't need validation from anyone else because I know my background. I know black culture. I also realized really in 8th grade that I have a stable, diverse friend group who accept me as me, and I don't need to change myself to fit into someone else's perception of me, and I don't need to force myself into a stereotype.
So I think, but now, I think that it has a really positive influence on me because I embrace that difference and I embrace my differences. I embrace who I am, and I don't really care if anyone else doesn't. I mean, you can't live a great life caring.
I do not blame those people for believing that I was a bad person because of my faith. We were all young, and they were taught at a young age where they could not think for themselves or do their own research, and were just going based off of what they were taught by their parents. One good thing that came out of my story is that it shaped me to be the person that I am today. My differences were obviously a problem to some people, and sometimes I had to deal with people disliking me and having to defend myself and explain the truth about my religion. I always feel obligated to not only represent Muslims and Islam in a good way, but to also go beyond people's expectations and prove that I am beyond capable. There is so much more to me than just my hijab. My personal experience has shaped me to be the resilient, confident, respectful, and forgiving person that I am today. My religion teaches me not only to be truthful, but to care, love, and respect other people regardless of our differences, and do the best that I can to help our society every day.
As I grew older, I kind of realized that I can't wait for the world to accept me. And I decided to start being the truest version of myself and wholeheartedly express myself and my culture now. This led me to be very open about who I am and planning events like Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, as well as working with local community organizations by doing panels and sharing information online. While I had some struggles growing up, I definitely did not let them define me and instead used them to make a stronger version of myself.
It took a long time for me to accept myself for who I am. I'm a proud black lady. And I don't know, it taught me a lot. There is a light at the end of this dark tunnel.
But I have learned to embrace this as a part of who I am and what makes me me.
Be who you are and don't allow anyone affect the confidence you have in your individuality. Bye, Demi Wakata. Thank you for listening, and this is my story.
And I know this isn't just my story. This is the story of so many other Indian immigrants who came to America, who tried to find a way to assimilate into American culture, whether that took letting go of your own culture. But everyone's story seems to be ending the same way, by realizing that your roots are so much stronger than what you're going to try to be, because you always have to come back to your roots. We're here in America not to just fit in, not to just be a replica of everyone else or who we're expected to be. We're here to tell our stories, here to contribute to the culture, here to educate people on things that maybe they didn't know. To this day, I will gladly explain to anyone what a bindi is, why I wear it, anything about my religion, my culture that contributes to who I am. Because if I can't explain myself to somebody else, then I don't think I am myself. And that's why I really loved being able to talk about my story and share my experiences with so many other people just like me. Thank you so much, Chit Productions, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you guys. Bye.
Although these stories are unique, honestly, these might be the same stories from people that you know, people that you go to school with, and people that you might have built strong friendships with. So if you continue to use slurs against them or support people who don't invest in their success, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you're part of the problem. It's not enough to just watch this video. You must take action. Stop supporting those who spread hate, and remember that differences are something to celebrate.
This is 2020, a year for change, and change is coming whether you like it or not. This is the time where you can decide to hop on board or be left behind. And with Chit Productions, we will start the conversation and provoke change in this society.